And despite the rain today, people showed up at the Idaho Statehouse to protest the death of George Floyd. He died 2 weeks ago while being restrained by a Minneapolis police officer. While many protests around the country have turned violent, CBS 2's Erica Lee reports at the Statehouse things remained peaceful today.
The rain didn't stop the protesters from gathering here at the Capitol this morning to protest for Black lives. Despite weather conditions, dozens brought their umbrellas, face masks, and of course signs to make their voices heard at the Capitol today. While there have been many protests and vigils all week long, they say the fight is far from over.
Really, we are protesting. We want justice for George Floyd, and as we've seen in Minnesota, they're finally getting along with the charges and such. But we also want to do is put action to the voice that people are hearing now. It's not just about protesting. We need to have legal action happen because it is not the community's fault for what has happened. We have bad apples in our leadership. We have bad apples in our law enforcement, and that can't happen. If we have that, then there's no way for us to be able to hold this community to a higher standard than our own leadership.
In contrast to many other demonstrations and riots across America, the organizers emphasized the importance of maintaining a peaceful environment. There were no counter-protesters at this event.
I say is, let's just keep the peace, and I'm not going to stop coming out here until I can come out here on days like this where everything is peaceful, where I don't have to worry about anything. Once that happens, that's going to show me like, okay, Boise, they really understand us, and they want to let us speak out our minds.
Various ages and ethnicities were represented today, all with a desire to enact change. Protester Jobin Iwasa says people who are not in marginalized communities should be open to learn and listen.
Even if you don't have any friends in those marginalized communities, to educate yourself and learn more and learn what you can do to help, because we as people that are not in those groups have the most ability. Unfortunately, we have the most ability to affect change, and we need to do that when and where we can.
CBS 2's Erica Lee shows you how Central District health officials look inside those numbers to evaluate the risk to the Treasure Valley.
As restrictions are starting to lift and people in the Treasure Valley are beginning to go out once again, it might feel like things are getting back to normal. But Central District Health says it's not over yet. As Stage 3 is halfway completed, people in the Treasure Valley have been dining out, having small gatherings with family and friends. Even so, there has not been a significant increase in the number of cases in Ada County.
Nothing really too alarming for us, which is really great news since we do have the largest population hub. We do anticipate that because the reopening of Stage 2 has given us the incubation period time lag, which we normally would see, we'll have a better picture early next week to see if we're going to see an uptick in any of those cases. But as of now, the reported cases for the last several weeks have maintained.
However, if there were to be a jump in cases later on, Atkins says it would be a good idea to scale back the reopenings.
If we were to see something that was similar in our area, say we were seeing 40 to 50 new cases overnight and then had those go up, we would definitely have to say there's something else going on that we need to identify.
While some may feel like everything is going back to normal and the pandemic is almost over, Atkins says we are still not out of the woods yet.
It could be problematic if we have people that are in close proximity having family gatherings, coming in and bringing in all kinds of whatever respiratory illness may exist, and we don't know what that ramification will look like.
While there hasn't been a significant increase in coronavirus cases here in the Treasure Valley, it's better to be safe than sorry. Atkins recommends we continue to socially distance. Reporting in Boise, Erica Lee, CBS 2 News.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! In the city that hosts protests on a weekly and sometimes daily basis, Washington, D.C.'s police chief predicts today's could be one of the largest ever.
With the pandemic especially, there's been a lot of rage and a lot of built up tension. Another Black life is being taken in this terrible crisis,
12 days after the death of George Floyd, this is the scene in the nation's capital.
I don't think Black Lives Matter is anything that one, person or race needs to be saying. It's something we all need to be saying.
We are angry, we are frustrated, and this is just the beginning. It will not stop here.
Protests have spilled from major U.S. cities into America's small towns and have now spread around the globe.
What happened in the U.S. was it was the spark that sparked it everywhere.
From outside of Parliament in London to the steps of the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City to a tribal ceremony in Australia. Some members of Congress here hoping to turn this widespread anger into action, like passing new laws, including a federal ban on the police use of a chokehold.
It's an unnecessary, unacceptable, uncivilized, unconscionable, and un-American tactic. No one should be choked to death on the streets of America.
Police should not be warriors when they're dealing with the civilian population. They should actually be guardians.